telling people how to beat your character sounds like a crazy thing to do, I know, but long term it's actually mutually beneficial for both parties to understand the weaknesses of a character. Basic Goldlewis strategies will be countered and then will be replaced with stronger ones, and people that rarely get to play Goldlewis get a solid groundwork for understanding how to beat him. Let's just get into it. If you want to learn how to beat Goldlewis, you came to the right place. If you like what you see, consider dropping a like and subscribing. Let's get into one of Goldlewis's first major weaknesses, and that his pokes have really big weaknesses. Most importantly, most of them can be low profiled or pretty slow, or it can be 6 speed. We'll get into why that's really important later. But yeah, it's just the general concept. We'll get into more specifics on why this matters so much later. But yeah, know that most of his good pokes kind of hit high, or they don't have much range. This is his 2K, probably his fastest poke, and it just doesn't have that range going for it. Next, we have Goldlewis's JD, which is super strong. It controls a lot of space, and a lot of the time I get people trying to backdash this, but I need to tell you, just don't try to backdash this. It's going to catch you. Instead, you should probably be challenging it with 6P, and I will be creating this like overall narrative how I want you guys to be playing this matchup. So, yeah, speaking of 6P, it's a disturbingly strong option against Goldlewis. So not only will it beat his aerial approaches like the JD that we were just talking about, but it's also going to beat most of those pokes. Everything pretty much besides 2D or a raw behemoth. This kind of means that you can generally play pretty passively, wait for Goldlewis's approaches, and just 6P no matter what he does. And the only thing he can get away with is going for a raw behemoth or running him with 2D, which is a pretty slow poke. Ironically, Goldlewis's 6P cannot be used as a counter poke a lot of the time due to its really high hitbox. And you can see it does not have much going for it. It's mainly a defensive 6P. This means that his pokes are incredibly weak and yours are harder for him to contest. Next, we can talk about his 684 behemoth. Only the best of the best Goldlewis's can do this raw. But you will encounter people that can't do it. And it is a very, very strong neutral tool. But it does have some weaknesses. So on whiff, it does have 21 frames of recovery, meaning at the very least you can take a turn if they whiff it. But a lot of the time, if you're fast enough, you can get a punish, especially if you're playing just outside of that range. And next, a really important thing is that if they ever mess this up and they're put in the air like this, they are massively disadvantaged. It is a free punish, especially if it doesn't touch you at all. That's just a run-up close slash from the soul. Next, don't let Goldlewis get 214S out neutral. So you have 43 frames to hit this. You can kind of think of this move as Leo's H fireball, where if you ever let him get it out, he's really advantaged in neutral, so it should be part of your game plan to just not let him get it out. When you see that the Goldlewis is at level 3 meter, you can see this Curdy level in the bottom left. That's when you should really be suspect for them to just go for like backdash 214S. And next, we have Burn It Down. This is a similar thing, but it costs meter. Goldlewis can't really afford to use this super close because you can just run up and throw and you won't be hit by the laser. So don't let Goldlewis's go for it mid-screen, and if they ever go for it full screen, some characters have options to stop that as well. You know, if I was Soul right there, I could have PRC'd, done whatever I want, right? Probably throw him there. Or if I was fast enough or close enough, I could probably even get a punish there. Therefore, the overall narrative I was trying to make is the gameplay that is awkward for Goldlewis to deal with in neutral is playing patiently, preferably playing outside of the 684 neutral range, like playing right outside of there, waiting for a whiff to move, or waiting for a blatant engagement. Whenever he engages, you should be ready to 6P, and whenever he whiffs, you should be ready to punish them. And finally, just never let him get away with that drone for a free advantage in neutral. So, I assume most of you clicked on this video to learn how to defend against Goldlewis. First, I'm going to tell you, you need to get familiar with each Behemoth Typhoon, what's plus, what's safe, what's a frame trap, what's cap, right? And you can do this by going to Dust Loop and looking at the frame data individually, or you can watch my big Goldlewis video to see how Goldlewis, how his pressure works, or I can give you guys some quick digestible tips that I'm going to give you here. So first things first, we have the 628H. This behemoth is really strong and does have frame trap options, but many people let themselves get hit by multiple of these in a row. Especially in the corner, they'll just let the Goldlewis get away with over and over again into meter. And they're, look at the guarantee, well, what they perceive to be guaranteed chip damage. You can actually challenge this, and once again, there are frame trap options. So this is only if they're transparent with it, but you can challenge it with a 5-frame button or faster. Most people have a 5-frame 2p. Boom, you won. Congrats, you're out of it because I was transparent with my pressure. Great. Next, we have 842. 842H. So if you ever block this, never challenge afterwards. Goldlewis is plus 16 and his throw is going to beat even a 3-frame button. So there's no point in ever pressing a button after blocking this. Let's quickly show this. Soul's 5k, the fastest button in the game. Don't ask me why it is. Oh, I messed up my dash there. Oops. And we just threw it. We threw the fastest button in the game. So if Soul's 5k can't do it, neither can your button. Don't press a button. He is plus 16, and you will often see that Goldlewis's will take advantage of this and loop this, and this close slash every time is going to be a frame trap, but you can actually just use a system mechanic to make this much harder for them. Faultless defense. If they don't have running momentum, it's going to completely whiff most of the time as well. Well, it's hitting there, so I don't know, but there are times where you don't have running momentum, and then from close slash this will whiff, just like then. But with running momentum, most of the time it's still going to hit, but it's going to leave you much farther away, meaning the run-up close slash is no longer true. Instead, they're probably going to have to go for like a dash far slash, and then mid-screen you can probably backdash the far slash. Next, we have Next, we have 248H Behemoth. This Behemoth will always whiff after FD if you FD the initial button. So by FDing a close slash, you immediately get rid of this fast low option. Obviously, you can be hit by this if they use this around your wake up. Most of the time, you will see them whiff something, whiff a move first, and then go for it, just so they can input the move during the lag. Finally, the behemoths you need to be familiar with, 684H and 624H. Those look like this, and both of these behemoths signal the end of Goldlewis's pressure. This next tip hurts to say because I've been taking advantage of it for quite a while, but most of Goldlewis's options mid-screen can be backdashed. In fact, all of them can be backdashed from a blocked far slash or 2D at its max range. For example, you might see something like this, and you're like, whoa, Goldlewis just put himself plus 12. Oh, now he's getting closer. He's getting in. Oh, and now he just got enough meter, and now he's really in there, and you're in the corner, and you have max risk, and all these things. Well, let's go back to that situation. It's just a safe backdash, and Goldlewis actually has 0 options to punish you for going for the backdash. None of the behemoths can touch you. All he can do is go into a true string with the fastest behemoths, which leave him -5 at full screen, which is pretty much neutral. Obviously, you did eat the chip damage, but it could be worse considering you got blocked, or he got a move out on you in neutral. Next, you're probably thinking, well, I mean, surely that doesn't work when Goldlewis is closer, right? It's just because he's farther away. Well, unfortunately, Goldlewis only has very certain options to punish a backdash. So the normal ones that you see are the quick overhead, backdash beats it. The slow low, backdash beats it. There are some options, don't worry. There are things you can do to beat this, including 486, which is the general one that I like to go for, and you actually get a pretty good combo off of it. You can also do 426 if you're closer to the corner, because you get a wall bounce. Obviously, from mid-screen, you do not. Next, you can also go for the delay 236. That will also beat it, but that's something that not a lot of Goldlewis are going to go for. I mean, more advanced ones will, but I mean, I'm trying to make a video for like average, right? And finally, they can go for actually, there are 2 things. You can 5H to catch a backdash. You need running momentum, I believe. Yep, with running momentum. And lastly, they can JD to catch a backdash, which of course is a very hard read because if they press anything or block that overhead, you're not in the greatest position, right? But yeah, backdash in mid-screen is very, very strong against Goldlewis, and if you backdash enough things, they're going to be forced to hard call you out with options like this, or this, or this, or this. Oh, that sucks. That was a very good take, and then kind of did that. Anyways, next, Goldlewis is very likely to go for a behemoth after a close slash. We've seen this time and time again. I'm almost always going for behemoths after a close slash, right? So that means that this is a very, 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 I'm going to keep saying very until I have this selected. very, 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 very good time to go for a DP. And here's why. Most of these options are going to get actually just rolled by DPs. Even our frame trap option, DP'd. Slow low, DP'd. Overhead to catch a backdash. Oh, nope, DP'd. Only thing we can do is do a gapless string, which of course the soul is not going to be punished for going for the DP because this gapless string is a mid anyways. You could try to do something like go for a 2D and maybe that would catch them while they're holding forward for the DP, but that'll all be timing and whatever. The point is, there's a gap after close slash after almost everything that Goldlewis goes for, so this is a very, very good time to go for DP or reversal overdrive. Additionally, there is one more option we can go for after this close slash, and that is to delay burst. So once again, there are big gaps after the close slash when they're going for behemoths, and if you go for the delay burst, you're going to be getting a free gold burst almost all the time. It's more of a numbers thing. There are just so many behemoths with gaps. In fact, it's every single one of them besides the ones that keep him safe, which he would obviously never go for after a close slash. He'd rather go for this gapless one. But yeah, pretty much his only option is to go for something gapless, and that's most of the time going to be this. Any other time, though, your delay burst is going to turn into a free gold burst, where you're going to push Goldlewis off of you and get 2 free meters. And we're back to talking about FD. So it's very important to FD Goldlewis when you're in the corner. Otherwise, you're going to hold a lot of chip damage and a couple mix-up options. Some options that you get rid of are close slash and 842 chaining. We talked about this earlier. Of course, the FD can also make that 842 whiff, and you're going to get a big punish, hopefully, because of it. Next, you have the close slash and 2H Gatling. This is important because, well, Goldlewis go for the close slash 2H Gatling because, number 1, it frame traps. Number 2, it combos into itself. And number 3, it leads to a really, really big combo. And so this string will completely whiff you FD. Next, we have tick throws. Goldlewis's tick throw actually isn't bad at all after the close slash, but with the FD, you can see I have to run a lot further to get closer in. And finally, you just have general Typhoons whiffing if you go for FDs. So this is a really common string. And without running momentum, this is going to whiff, and the soul will have a chance to get out of the corner. So why is it important to push the Goldlewis back, other than these things I just showed you? The most important reason is because Goldlewis, when he's far back here, and he does have some plus frames, he's going to be forced to either play slower. So like, let's say I get you to block this. I'm plus 12, but I'm pretty far away. I can't really do anything, right? He has to play slower, play a little more reactive, maybe catch a jump or jump in with this. Number 2, he could also use meter to get back in to reset the turn. Or number 3, he can blatantly overextend. And you see this a lot with Goldlewis's when they're really far away and they're just going for this over and over again. So the reason it's important to recognize this situation is because at any time, it's going to be hard to do this with the bot, but Soul can actually just 6p my far slash and immediately end all my pressure, get the knockdown on me, and do whatever, right? So if you ever see the Goldlewis going for this, get ready to 6p. And let me tell you, the second most option is going for a JD, which of course is also going to lose to 6p. The only way the Goldlewis can hard counter you for going for this option is going to be going for 2D, but Goldlewis's aren't going to want to go for this because a 2D means that you'll be able to jump out at any time, and you also have to get closer to go for the 2D than you usually would for the far slash. I know that last tip was a lot. It's fine. We're fine. I got an easy one for you. So Behemoth Typhoons give guard crush so you can't YRC them. If you're going to YRC it, make sure you do it on the normals. So a lot of the time you'll see a Goldlewis run up, they'll go for close slash into Behemoth. Don't try to YRC the Behemoth because you won't be able to. You need to do it on the close slash. Be ready for it. And know that the Goldlewis can also go for a Behemoth on your wake up to prevent you from going for YRCs altogether. Finally, our final tip, and I promise you it's an important one, so stay tuned. Pay attention to which options the Goldlewis is going for after his close slash. It can be easy to get distracted by highs and lows when guarding his character, but it's very important to understand that Goldlewis's kit isn't meant to mix you up. The highs and lows are all reactable. Instead, it's much more important to understand whether Goldlewis is going for a safe or an unsafe option. So I don't want to make things vague, so let me give you a direct example. So let's say a Goldlewis is going for overheads 20% of the time and lows 80% of the time. Assuming you could not react to it, everyone would say it's better to just block low in that situation. Now, what if I told you that the overhead was a frame trap and the low wasn't? flow wasn't true. You could mash out of it. Now, some might tell you that it's better to just mash in that situation because you're rewarded 80% of the time. But now, what if I told you that the high and the low options that Goldlewis were going for were both unsafe, and that both could be mashed? Now it's just objectively correct to mash in that situation. So my point for this is, more than high or low, it's important to look at whether Goldlewis is going for the frame trap option or the unsafe option, and this will give you information on how to defend. Goldlewis only has one auto-timed frame trap in the 862H. Otherwise, he would need to manually delay a fast behemoth. If they aren't using their frame trap behemoth enough, then you're letting them get away with these unsafe options. You need to try mashing after close slash if they're being very obvious with the unsafe options. And that's all I've got. Sorry for hitting you up with that math problem, but thank you all so much for tuning in this video. If you're looking for more information on Goldlewis, consider checking out the only Goldlewis guide you'll ever need. It's also uploaded on this channel. This is a complete guide on how to play him from the ground up. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. If you want notifications of future streams and videos, join the community Discord. It's also the best places to suggest videos and ask me questions directly. I also stream on Twitch, so if you want to see me live in action, follow me over there. If you want to support what I do, consider joining my Patreon. Once again, thanks for supporting the content. See you soon. Until we meet again, that's all I've got. Bye-bye.